Hi guys, and welcome to another video. I'm going to try and do a range of videos now looking at Dwarven Forge tiles specifically. I've recently got into role-playing games and I bought some of these a long time ago with a rather naive attempt to try and make a Hero Quest board from them, which it's not actually very feasible to do. But wow, are they making a huge impact for my role-playing group, so it's going down really well. There's not a huge amount of buzz about these. I mean, I think people are aware of them, but we write them off on the virtue that they're very expensive. So I'm hoping to try and show you that you can do quite a lot with a relatively small amount, and yeah, just give you a feel for some of the products that Dwarven Forge have put out, because they're really fantastic. So today we're going to drop in and we're going to look at the base set, which you would need to start with, and then we'll move on to some of the other things that they have. So guys, before you have the basic dungeon tiles set that you would need really as a starting point no matter what. It comes with 14 walls, okay, 12 floors, 2x2 floors, okay, 6 corners, so not quite enough for 2 rooms, and 2 doors. It comes in at $85, and there's 36 pieces, 14, 26, 30, 34 pieces, okay, 2 of which are doors, however, okay, which are a bit smaller. Now I've got the painted version, which is I believe 85, like I just said, and it's just really lovely. So you've got the tiles, you've got the clear, this is 25mm, so you've got it like painted all the way around, it's black on the bottom. Okay, the walls come up in a slightly nicer colour, they've got sort of little bits of relief on them, okay, and I mean it's not an amazing paint job. What it is that they've base coated it grey, they've then coloured in some of these bricks yellow, and then they've dry brushed it. But it looks just so damn effective. I really like it, and there's little inconsistencies sometimes. Some will have more heavy dry brushing. It just adds a lot of character. You can buy it unpainted, and that means it's cheaper, obviously, which is good. If you feel like you want to do your own bits, there's some very creative people. I have a 1-year-old, so I do not have time to do that. It's made of Dwarvenite. It's really solid. You can't break it or bend it or anything at all. My daughter actually adores playing with this stuff, and she's never once broken it. My Wizards of the Coast minis, a couple of those have met an untimely end. The Dow especially. It may have a very high combat rating, but my daughter can defeat it single-handedly. But these are really sturdy. The doors, you can see these now have a little bit more detail to them because they've been painted brown, obviously, and then there's silver accents on the thing, and you can see this is fully hinged. And you can see it's not quite the same, so if I compare 2 doors next to one another, you can see there's a little blip of paint there. You're not going to notice that in a million years. They haven't got the handle. If I was painting that myself, I probably would have got that, but that's that. So what can you do with this stuff? Well, I think it's the big mistake people make is thinking you'll need to put out a whole dungeon. You really don't, okay? The first thing I would appreciate is that you can actually set up encounters within the dungeon. So I'm running the Lost Mines of Phandelver at the moment, and we have this place called the Red Brand's Hideout. So it's a load of baddies, and they're living in a cellar effectively, you know. They're really doing well for themselves. So essentially you have what is a little mess hall. So they're just chilling out there, they're gambling and so on and so forth. And basically you can set it up really swiftly. And I've made a mistake. You can see how quickly it comes together. Now realistically you wouldn't want to be doing this while your guys are watching, okay? I already think that this probably isn't the most compelling video to watch, but that's fine. So what you have here is you have a little corridor down, and your heroes are going to come along this part, and that should belong there. Now your doors are going to pop in here and here. Okay. Ooh. And then on the other side you're going to lead through to their bedrooms. Okay, their quarters. And that took me sort of what, 10 seconds? Well, no, that's a bit of an exaggeration, at least a minute. And you've got a snazzy dungeon. This is a really naff tripod, I apologise. So you can see that there. Let me go grab a couple of characters and you can see how they might sit in the hall. Okay, so I'm just using Wizards of the Coast characters here. So some of the starter set, some of the old models. So you can have your erstwhile heroes coming down in this area here, and you can have your red brands kicking about there. And you can see, there they are, and we're going to open that door and so on, and they can go in and fight. Now my biggest criticism of the set is that that's not very exciting. Okay, it doesn't look very cool. So I have a couple of the items from the dungeon dressing set. Now this cost, I believe, $70, so we're already at $150, and I would say realistically that's your minimum buy-in. Now you could use other things. Okay, I have used in the past Hero Quest stuff. It's a little big. I'll pop a little Hero Quest cupboard at the back, you can see it. It's a little big, but you know, that's the idea there. And so this is only a fraction of what you get in the dungeon dressing set. I will do a separate video for it, but immediately it's a bit more exciting. Okay, so in this dungeon they're playing poker, and you can zoom in and you can take them unawares. So you've got the treasure table. Maybe that's a little overkill. Okay, so you could have perhaps a little treasure chest which represents their takings. I haven't put some chairs out, but we have chairs or benches. If they wanted to sit on benches, you could have those there. And immediately it's populating your dungeon with a bit of flavour. You've got the barrels in the corner. You can see, I don't know if you can, it's actually slightly taller, that thing, but it fits very nicely in there. If you were doing it on a shoestring, you could actually make a lot of these. There's some fantastic video producers on YouTube at the moment that are putting out terrain crafting stuff. I built a wooden bridge for this campaign. It took me, what, 1 hour with some lollipop sticks, but you can immediately see how cool this sort of thing is. And then they go in and we're starting to think tactics and so on and so forth, and they've got a little visual clue that there's something on that treasure chest, so they're going to search. Once they're in the room, they're searching the treasure chest and so on and so forth. Now, does this replace the theatre of the mind and all of that? Not really. I mean, that is its own cool thing. But you know, I personally have found this hugely beneficial as a DM who's just starting out. I've only recently started doing it. And if they clear this room, so let's say they kill these poor little red brands, they loot them, the murder hobos that they are, and then they open this door, there is a second encounter here. Now we don't have quite enough pieces from the single tile set, but with very little effort we can very quickly, and this could be done on the fly as long as you know what you're doing. Okay, bop bop and bop. You see, I've now used all of my sets, so the only bit I'm really missing is one tile here actually, from actually completing this whole thing. Move my door along, okay, and then this was the bedroom. So again, this is all from the dungeon dressing set. You could perhaps pop in a couple of beds. Maybe there's some chests at the end of those beds, little lockers, if they want to pop in some lockers. The other chest is there, and maybe a little chair here. And again, suddenly you've got a snazzy little room. Now this is where the bugbears live, okay, but you can see how cool that is. Now, hand on heart, I don't love the beds because I don't know. I don't think that bugbears would sleep in a nice bed with a headboard and a duvet. You know, they like their comforts, but that's what you get. So that's what I use. So this is the idea of one set, okay. And you can immediately see you've created within this little area a really memorable encounter for your characters. And it's cost a bit, yes, for sure, but these are very, very versatile things. Now, the big difference between the Kickstarter and the pack you can get now is that the Kickstarter had a lot of other stuff in it. It had pillars, and it had corners that were round and corners that were diagonal, and it had little stairs and stuff like that. Now you do lose that with these sets, and I wonder how useful the corner set is. It's not one I've earned. I've got 6 rounded corners because I have a 3 set pledge, and that's enough for me. Do I need another 14 rounded corners? No. Would I buy 14 rounded corners? Probably not. But the cool thing for us now, as we're going into the latest Kickstarter, which is Kickstarter 4, is that they have slightly newer sets. Now, not only do they have extra cool stuff like light up walls, magnetic walls, double doorways and stuff like that, but those pre-packaged things, and these are going to be available on the website, will have a bit more variety. So that will give you, if you've got one of these as a base set initially, it's going to open a lot of opportunities for you again, with that extra set. So it is an investment, there's no denying it. It's going to cost money to get a set, but I think with one set and some dungeon furniture. Now that doesn't have to be the dungeon furniture I've shown you today. It could be stuff you've made at home, stuff from like dolls' houses, literally stuff that you have got from Hero Quest, or Mantic do a nice line of stuff. I'll just pull out a Mantic shelf. There's some cool stuff you can get with minimal spend. So let me just get a Mantic bookcase covered and well. So I've completely nobbled this, but this is actually perfectly sized for the thing. It's been terribly painted. That's why I pay for someone to do it for me. But you can see that's the Mantic furniture, and I think that's like $15, something like that. For a decent range, you get tables, chairs. You can see I've put a little bit of resin in the well to make it a bit more cool. It's incredibly shiny because I varnished it. But yeah, you're looking at $85 for the set, maybe $15 for a Mantic set, or if you don't have the time, $70 for a dungeon set from Dwarven Forge. And you've got an amazing little thing to run people through. If you're DMing with kids, again, I think kids are going to find this a lot easier to understand and conceptualize, or people who are just new to the game. Immediately it opens up tactics. So when we were doing this, we had wardrobes from other places. They physically moved it to there. They're picking up the pieces because they didn't know what was coming in either of these rooms, and they figured they'd barricade off a door there. And that's cool. I mean, it's a physical representation of what you're doing in the game. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to analyse the dungeon dressing. I've got narrow passages, I've got some of the caverns, some of the third Kickstarter, but that is the basic set, and it shows you what you can do in quite a quick amount of time, and what you can sort of get out of it. So I hope this has been useful, and we'll see you on the next video.